Stop for a second, because something strange is happening right now. There are people who walk into a room, and without saying a single word, everyone respects them. No loud voice, no trying too hard, no showing off. So, what's their secret? Because if you've ever felt invisible, like people talk over you, ignore your ideas, or don't take you seriously, then what I'm about to show you might change everything. I used to be that person, the one people didn't notice, the one no one really listened to. But then I discovered 5 small things, nothing complicated, nothing fake, and everything changed. People started paying attention, listening, respecting me without me saying much at all. So, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make people respect you without forcing it. So, before we go into anything practical, you need to see something most people never notice. Respect is not something people give you after thinking about it. It happens instantly, before you speak, before you explain, before you prove anything. People decide how they see you in seconds. And here's the part that changes everything. They're not reacting to your words. They're reacting to your signals. The way you stand, the way you move, the way you look at them, the way you respond or don't. All of it creates a feeling. And people don't respect logic first. They respect feeling. That's why you can say the right things and still be ignored, or say very little and still be taken seriously. Because respect is not built through effort. It's built through presence. And most people never learn this. They try to talk more, explain more, prove more. But the more they try, the more they lose control of how they're perceived. So, if you want people to respect you, you don't start with your words. You start with how you show up. Because the moment you change that, everything else begins to change with it. So if respect is created through presence, then everything comes down to one thing: consistency. Because these signals people read from you, they're not random. They form a pattern. And once that pattern is clear, people stop questioning you. They simply accept who you are. This is why it's not about learning 5 tricks. It's about aligning how you show up. Your body, your pace, your attention, your reactions, they all need to say the same thing. Calm, certain, grounded. If your posture says confidence, but your movements feel rushed, the signal breaks. If your eyes connect, but your mind is distracted, people feel it. Respect doesn't grow in fragments. It grows in coherence. And that's what most people miss. They fix one thing, but ignore everything else. So instead of trying to remember techniques, think of this as a system. You don't try to act confident. You remove what makes you look unsure. You don't try to control people. You control your own state. And when all of that aligns, something powerful happens. You become predictable. In the best way. People know what energy to expect from you, and that certainty creates trust. And trust is where respect begins to solidify. And once your presence becomes consistent, people start noticing something else. Your behavior becomes predictable, not boring, not robotic, but stable. Because now everything you do begins to follow the same rhythm. You don't rush your movements, you don't rush your words, you don't react instantly to everything around you. There's a gap, a small pause, between what happens and how you respond. And that pause changes everything, because most people react. They interrupt, they over-explain, they try to fill every silence. But when you stop doing that, you start standing out. Your body stays open, your pace stays steady, your attention stays present, and your reactions become intentional. You don't speak just to be heard. You speak when it matters. You don't move to impress. You move with purpose. You don't look around for approval. You stay grounded in yourself. And slowly, without forcing anything, people begin to adjust to you. They stop interrupting you. They wait for you to finish. They start listening more carefully, not because you demanded respect, but because your behavior no longer invites dismissal. And that's the shift. Respect doesn't come from adding something new. It comes from removing the chaos and replacing it with clarity. And once that clarity is visible, people don't just see you differently. They respond to you differently. And you don't have to imagine this. You've already seen it, maybe in a meeting, maybe in a group conversation. Everyone is talking at once. Voices overlapping, energy everywhere, people trying to be heard, trying to be right, trying to take control. And in the middle of all that noise, there's always one person who doesn't rush. They don't interrupt. They don't compete. They just observe, calm, still, present. At first, no one notices them because they're not fighting for attention. But then something interesting happens. The noise starts to exhaust people. The conversation loses direction. And slowly, attention begins to shift toward the quiet one. Because in a room full of chaos, clarity becomes magnetic. And when that person finally speaks, they don't say much, just a few words, clear, simple, direct. And suddenly, everyone listens. Not because they're louder, not because they forced authority, but because they never lost control. That's the difference. Respect isn't built in the moment you speak. It's built in all the moments you chose not to. But here's the part most people never realize. None of this works if it's fake. You can't force presence. You can't pretend calm. You can't act like you respect yourself if deep down you don't. Because people don't just see behavior. They feel intention. And the smallest inconsistency breaks everything. So the real shift isn't outside. It's inside. When you stop needing approval, your posture changes. When you stop chasing validation, your pace slows down. When you stop doubting your worth, your eyes stop avoiding. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you start listening. And when you stop reacting to everything, silence becomes natural. That's the truth. All the external signals are just reflections of how you see yourself. So respect doesn't start when people change, it starts when you do. Not by becoming someone new, but by removing everything that made you hide. And when that happens, you don't have to ask for respect anymore. People just give it. So if you put everything together, a pattern becomes clear. Respect was never about speaking louder. It was never about proving more. And it was definitely never about forcing people to see your value. It was always about how you show up, the way you carry yourself, the way you move, the way you connect, the way you respond, and the moments you choose not to. All of it sends a message. And over time, that message becomes your identity. Not the one you try to explain, but the one people feel. And once people feel it, you don't have to convince them anymore. They just know. So here's what I want you to do next. Don't try to change everything at once. That's where most people fail. Instead, pick just one thing. Maybe you sit a little straighter. Maybe you slow down your speech. Maybe you hold eye contact just a second longer. Just one. And do it for the next 7 days. No pressure, no perfection, just awareness. Because the moment you become aware of how you show up, you start taking control of it. And when that happens, people don't just see you differently. You start seeing yourself differently. And that's where real respect begins. If this made you think differently, stay with me, because this is just the beginning. And once they feel it, you don't have to ask for respect anymore. It happens, naturally. And once they feel it, you don't have to ask for respect anymore. It happens, naturally.